PseudoPod is extruded into this universe from a dimension of purest fear. It's beautiful in its own alien way, but what's to come will unsettle you.
PseudoPod, episode 576, for the week of January 5th, 2018. This week's episode, Flash on the Borderlands 41, Flash Fiction Contest 5 winners. Hello and welcome to PseudoPod, the weekly horror podcast. I'm Brian, your host, and this week's Flash on the Borderlands is brought to you by the brave souls who came out on top of PseudoPod's 5th installation of our Flash Fiction contest. For those of you who don't know, PseudoPod has just concluded the first installation of the 5th round of Flash Fiction contests. Our tradition started way back in 2007 when Escape Pod was our only podcast. The contest is as old as our forums, with the first one starting just a few days after they were created. As the PseudoPod community manager, I've had the distinct pleasure of seeing these contests grow each and every year. For some perspective, PseudoPod first participated in Flash Contest 2, which boasted 88 entries. I was beside myself with the turnout, and we had a ton of fun involving our listeners in the editorial process for the first time. Fast forward to today, our last contest saw 200 submissions. 200. The participation is amazing. The process is a ton of fun, and now we get to share it with you, our listeners. So, without further delay, I present to you our third place story, The Taking Tree, by Evan Dicken. By day, Evan Dicken studies old Japanese maps and crunches data for all manner of fascinating medical research at The Ohio State University. By night, he does neither of these things. His short fiction has most recently appeared in publications such as Apex Magazine, Shock Totem, and Unlikely Story. Feel free to visit him at evandicken.com, where he wastes both his time and yours. The Taking Tree is read for us by Karen Bovenmyer. Karen earned an MFA in Popular Fiction from the University of Southern Maine's Stone Coast program in 2013, and she was awarded the 2016 Mary Shelley Scholarship by the Horror Writers Association. She is the PseudoPod guest editor for Artemis Rising 4, coming in 2018. So stay away from the trees, because I have a story for you, and I promise you, it's true.
The Taking Tree by Evan Dicken. Narrated by Karen Bovenmyer. Governor Porter, I deserve to die for what I've done. Just please, don't bury me. I'm reaching out because I got no one else. Even my lawyer keeps asking me where the bodies are buried. I wish I knew. Then I could chop the damn thing down. But the tree don't work like that. I see it sometimes out in the yard beyond the prison fence, waiting for me. At night, I dread the moment when the heater clicks off and all that's left is the rustle of leaves in the vents. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. In my earliest memories, the tree was an old thing, dry as driftwood. The story was it'd been a hanging tree back in the day. Men, women, even children had kicked out their last seconds under its branches. I used to play in the woods nearby, passing judgment on squirrels and starlings, the tree, my executioner. Once, we caught a stray cat. I think it was the screams that brought my parents running. People say I killed them too, but I was 9, for God's sakes. The tree followed me to foster care, its bark the rusty brown of old blood, leaves plump and shiny. I would wake to it tapping on my window, wanting more, wanting me. I had this foster brother, Raymond, used to hide outside my window while I was changing. One night I opened the curtains to give the creep a real show. I remember him staring from the bushes, eyes like quarters. Then he just disappeared, twisting away like he was on the end of a rope. I ran to the toilet and vomited blood. Somehow, I knew it wasn't mine. Once, I saw Raymond's picture on a milk carton and almost got kicked out of the house for laughing. It got easier after that, especially after I turned 18. Lots of men will follow a young girl into the park. Some women, too. The tree would snatch them up, quick as a heron gulping down frogs. I'd stand on my tiptoes, fingers brushing the tips of their kicking feet, feeling alive. Afterwards, I vomited blood, organs, even bones sometimes. I went in for an X-ray, and the negatives showed ribs of interlaced branches, the faint shadow of my organs picked out like leaves against a starless sky. And there, inside my heart, an acorn. The doctor got this funny look when I asked him to dinner. I should have paid attention to the news. Someone had taken a blurry photo of one of my dates. They had some bullshit name for me, Lady Death or the Sorority Strangler. The doctor recognized me, and well, here we are. Tomorrow, they're going to strap me to a table and I won't get up. I accept that. Hell, I welcome it. I'm not expecting a phone call. Burn my body. Donate it. Dump it in the goddamn ocean. I don't care. Just don't put me in the ground. I'm terrified of what will grow.
It's easy to fall prey to our habits. What starts as a passing interest can snowball into our worst qualities, or our best. That's why the hardest part of living healthy is breaking your bad habits and replacing them with good ones. These habits take root in us, feed off repetition, and can become monsters of their own. They follow us, they feed off of us, grow with us, and become part of us. And that brings us to our next story, Legal Tender, by Stephanie Malia Morris. Stephanie works in a bookstore by day and a library by night, which gives her access to more books than she can possibly read over several lifetimes. She is a recipient of the Octavia E. Butler Memorial Scholarship Award and a graduate of the 2017 Clarion West Writers' Workshop. Her short fiction has appeared or is forthcoming in Faya, Apex, and Nightmare. She has narrated short fiction for Uncanny, Starship Sofa, Far-Fetched Fables, and all 4 of the Escape Artist podcasts. Your narrator, Alexis Goble, is a jeweler and associate editor for Cast of Wonders. She lives with her podcaster partner in Cincinnati, Ohio. You can hear her other work in previous and upcoming episodes at Cast of Wonders. She's on Twitter at AlexisOnPaper. Now sit back, but don't scratch, because this next story is also true.
Legal Tender by Stephanie Malia Morris, narrated by Alexis Goble. We are women with money under our skin, a red rash of pennies peppering our ribs, dimes scattered across our bellies, a honeycomb of quarters sprouting between our thighs. The coins break out over our backs, fatten our wrists. $50 pave our scalps. We wear chokers of nickels. The coins burn like hot stones. Our fingers creak with a violent urge to scratch, to peel open our epidermis and dig among the follicles and sweat glands to where the coins lie, or down into the dermis and subcutaneous fat to where the coins are still soft zinc and copper nickel, not yet keratinized. Our mothers say, "Don't scratch." Most of us listen, but some do not. We see these women in the ER, the free clinic, on the side of the road, their faces shredded, hair wrenched out by the handful. We imagine how good the hair felt coming out. Coins clotted in the roots, slick with gore, the metal glistening. We contemplate the welts of our mothers' coins, shadows beneath the long sleeves of their blouses, Did you never get tired? We ask. And they say, of course we did. Cover up, our mothers say. Most of us listen, sickened by our reflections. Some do not. Our mothers send us a news story of a man who cut open his girlfriend with a razor and filled a plastic bag with dollar coins. Our mothers say, don't visit doctors. They cite women who opened up on the operating table, their bodies mined for silver. We ignore them. We show physicians our coin-spattered skin, answer their impersonal questions. Yes, we break out daily. No, we don't know why. Our physicians name over-the-counter antihistamines. We take our pills. But still, the coins spread. Our faces bloat with riches, eyes swollen purses, lips heavy as ripe fruit. In our despair, we scream at our friends, our partners, our children, our supervisors, our customers, ourselves. We sob in public, we drink, we starve, we sleep. We imagine the razor in our own hands, each cut sweeter than orgasm. How did you live? We ask our mothers, and they say, we just did. The day we find blood beneath our daughters' fingernails, their calves split with scratching, we imagine the decades ahead. Our daughters turning into us, our hands trembling as our mothers do, with desires on which we will never act. How could you watch us suffer? We feel our own calves, the scars that taught us obedience knotted in black. You think it was easy, our mothers say, when we wanted so much more for you? We too want so much more, but we are tired of wanting. The coins must end somewhere. So we wet our razors, kiss our daughters' slack faces, and open the peach-soft skin of their ankles to find the coins crusted beneath. Even unconscious, they whimper and toss. Hush, we say. This isn't easy. We wish our mothers had done this for us.
Acceptance is a dangerous drug. We stress over our appearances, we cut, we trim, we force our bodies into the shapes and colors society deems acceptable, attractive, normal. We pour money into our bodies, and it never ends. Undoubtedly, women bear the brunt of this. Look good, but don't look too good. If you look too good, it's your fault if someone else loses control of their inhibitions. Don't scratch, keep the coins spreading. Don't scratch, but know that as the coins spread, as your value increases, so does the danger. Don't scratch, don't cut. We're all trapped in the panopticon, the prison with no guard, no jailer, just ourselves. Our next story, and the first place winner of the 5th PseudoPod Flash Fiction Contest, is Two Step by Czernik. Drew and his family live in Ottawa, Canada. He loves life in Canada's capital city, but wouldn't mind if the snow could hold off until after Halloween once in a while. When he isn't working on his next escape artist flash fiction entry, he can usually be found in, and sometimes swimming after, his canoe in nearby Algonquin Park. You can read about his adventures, and more often misadventures, in the outdoors over at his blog, allofalgonquin.com. Your narrator, Austin Malone, is a short fiction author and an associate editor here at PseudoPod Towers. He lives in New Orleans and can be found online at sippinghemlocktea.com.
Two Step by Czernik. Narrated by Austin Malone. I take one step, he takes two. I woke up that first morning with the remnants of a nightmare in the back of my head. He was out there, coming closer. I blinked, rubbed sleep from my eyes, and tried to scrub the nightmare from my brain. The sleep went. The nightmare didn't. I heard something, looked past Amy. Tyler stood beside the bed, tugging the sheets, the top of his head just visible above the mattress. "Man's coming, Daddy." I take one step. He takes two. It was the same everywhere. People felt it. Shadows in the back of their minds creeping closer with every step. Then the shadows began to catch up. First it was the planes, empty ones landing on autopilot. Then they stopped landing and started falling. Commuters disappeared from trains, freeways snarled with accidents. The shadows were catching up. When they caught you, they took you. It didn't take long to realize that the further you went, faster they caught you. And they always caught you. The world slowed down. We stayed inside, didn't move unless we had to. It didn't matter. He kept coming. Every trip to the kitchen, the bathroom, every step, they all brought him closer. We kept the TV on, hoping for an answer. You could see the fear growing in the anchorwoman's eye every time she shifted. Finally, she stopped talking and just sat facing the camera, frozen. She was still there when the power went out. I take one step, he takes two. It's been days since I saw anyone outside. The last was the lady 3 houses down, running down the road, looking over her shoulder and screaming something I couldn't hear. She reached our driveway. There was a dark shimmer in the air behind her, and then she was gone. Wonder if that's how it ended for Amy. She left yesterday. After Tyler. We tried so damned hard, but how do you keep a 3-year-old still? He thought it was a game. He'd run away, laughing as we chased him, Amy screaming, Tyler shrieking. The last time he got to the front door, he turned and giggled. "Man's coming, Daddy." He took one more step, and there was that dark shimmer. His giggle turned to a scream, and then he was gone. Amy didn't say anything. She walked to where he'd disappeared, then kept on walking. I didn't bother closing the door behind her. Doors don't matter. I take one step, he takes two. It's just me now, alone in this dark, quiet house. I'm moving again. There's no reason not to anymore. He's close. So close, I swear I can almost see the shimmer. There's a picture on the fridge that Tyler painted. It's the 3 of us, smiling stick figures and thick blue finger strokes. I love that picture. I want to see it one more time. I take one step. He takes two.
What do you do when you can't run? Do you turn around, face your fear? Do you keep running out of habit? How do you react when despair sets in? The great Stoics teach us to face our fate with a calm, pleasant demeanor, with a grace befitting our enlightened status as humans. They tell us to take care every day, to live a good, just life, because every day might be your last. And so be it. The universe is a scary, uncaring, chaotic void, and we're just coasting through it. Enjoy the ride. So, what do you do when you can't run? When fate is catching up to you? Me? I'd take my wife's hand and go on a nice, long walk. PseudoPod relies on you to pay our authors, our narrators, our staff, to cover our server costs, and to keep the monsters locked in their cells. There are a few ways you can do that. One is to become a patron on Patreon. Patreon allows you to split up your monthly donation budget to the creators you love. And another is through PayPal. You can donate a one-off amount or subscribe for as little as $2 or $5 a month. Every dollar helps, and a $5 subscription does wonders you can't even imagine. We're of course aware that money is tight everywhere, and most of our listeners can't afford to donate. That's fine. If you can't donate, spread the word. Give us a review on iTunes, share us on social media, talk about us on your blog. Everything helps. So, if you can, go to pseudopod.org and check out Support the Pod on the right-hand side. PseudoPod will be back next week with different words in a different order, but just like this week, PseudoPod will be part of Escape Artists Incorporated, and also just like this week, it will be distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 international license. That means you can share PseudoPod, but you can't sell it or feed it after midnight. And PseudoPod doesn't get to play outside in the sunlight. But PseudoPod just wants a friend. PseudoPod lives behind a window. It can see you through the glass.